welcome. Thank you for joining us, myself, Sonia Clark, and our wonderful, fabulous guest speaker, Melissa McSherry. Welcome, Mel. How are you?
Thank you. I am very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fabulous. It's morning here in Melbourne, starting to become winter, and the chilly weather is waking me up.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I can tell you the dog is liking the warm spot back in my bed. So
I'm sure.
not wanting to join me today. So listeners, let me tell you about Mel. She's a speaker, coach, author, and a mum. She's an international business development coach, having successfully launched 2 businesses, tripled her annual income, and is also become an Amazon best-selling author while raising her 8-year-old. She's very good with slashing stress, prioritizing time, and your profit avenues to help make money and life what you want and fast. And she's also been featured in many podcast shows and the Voyage Chicago magazine. So a busy lady.
I try to make do. I try to keep myself out of trouble.
Exactly. That's what I say to the kids, and then they know me well, my kids, and they're a little bit older now, but it's always, you never ever say around me, I'm bored, because I can say, I'll find you work to do.
Right.
I'll find you jobs to do. And then they say, Mum, I don't want to do the dishes. And then I'll say, look, you'll still enjoy it. I'll make it a game for you.
Put on some music. We'll have a dance off. It'll be fine.
Yep. Exactly. But, it's sort of lost its shine when they certainly got closer to the 18 years of age. And I was like, Mum, you can't bribe me anymore. You can't. Damn it.
I know. Those things that I'm definitely still honing on to as having an 8-year-old of how creative I still can be and get away with, because I know that's not going to last forever.
No, exactly. So you can run with it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Mel, maybe you want to give a little bit more context about your story for our listeners.
Sure. So I've been a business owner since 2010. And like you said in my intro, I've had 2 businesses within that time period. My first business was in the fitness industry. I was a certified personal trainer, and I did in-home trainings, outdoor boot camps, bridal boot camps, and just absolutely loved it. But when my son was born in 2011, it was just way too hard to travel. I was married to his father at the time. His father works in Major League Baseball, and he is gone a lot. So trying to figure out how to build a business, plus be a new mom, plus all of this other stuff, it was just too much to handle. So I ended up actually taking a step to the side. And I say it that way because I don't believe in step backs whatsoever. And I took some time off just to refocus. So I started working for my father's company virtually, and in parallel, just really figuring out what now do I want and what do I want to create with this new life as a mom. And during that time, I got approached by a network marketing company here in the States called Beachbody. And they offered this online health and fitness coaching. And I thought this was perfect. This is, I get to do the fitness thing. I can still be home, and this is brilliant. And what ended up happening is I really fell in love with the business development side and helping women really develop what they wanted to create within this opportunity. And I never went to college for business. I actually never went to college at all. I grew up in a very entrepreneurial household. My father owns now a very successful company. However, as I was growing up, he owned several very unsuccessful ones. So growing up with that example of how to blend the two, both of my grandfathers were entrepreneurs, 2 of my uncles are. So I had a lot of innate knowledge that I didn't know was profitable to others. It was just something I knew. Mm-hmm. But I started preaching that, I guess you could say, or showing other women what I was doing to help build my business with this newborn. And my team exploded. So that got the attention of higher ups at Beachbody. So I started doing national calls and team trainings with them. That got the attention of friends and other networking marketing companies. So I started quietly doing calls and trainings for them. And in 2016, I found myself in the middle of my divorce with one foot in business coaching and the other foot still in fitness, and not going anywhere because I'd hit my capacity at both. And I thought, if there's any time to pivot, it's now.
Mm.
So I got connected with the John Maxwell International Leadership Team through Beachbody, did a 6-month internship with him, got my coaching certification through him and his team, left Beachbody in 2017, launched, right? Do I have my years right? Yeah, it's 2020. Launched this full-time 2016, launched this full-time 2017. I don't even know what day it is anymore. And I know, right? And I launched this company full time in 2017. And what I do is I predominantly work with women business owners who are exhausted and overwhelmed by everything that they think they need to do to be successful.
Mm.
And I show them how to prioritize their time, their profit avenues, and themselves correctly, so they are always creating what they want in the time that they have.
Mm, mm. That's awesome. Whether you're an entrepreneur online or, small business owner, more with bricks and mortar, there's so many times in our lives that, spanners get thrown into the works, certainly at the moment with the COVID. And there's lots of various challenges that happen. And certainly when we have family commitments and children, and then there's also the bringing staff on and off, or virtual staff. And then when we might want to grow, or certain opportunities are thrown our way, the overwhelm just comes in and out quite regularly, and at different levels it happens.
The overwhelm of just the possibilities, the overwhelm of the unknown, the how. I mean, it can get really large in a very short amount of time if you don't have the space to work through it or vocalize it or have that support to help you create that plan of action towards it. And that's what I love to do is take that big vision and just simplify it, and just show women especially, how to control the time that they have and how to have full say on it. And that way, every day, no matter if they had 10 minutes to work on their business or 7 hours, they're always being consistent in the growth that they want to create.
Lovely. And ultimately, what underpins that is prioritization.
Yeah.
Which that
is the kicker.
It is. It really, really is. And it's something that, we're constantly being reminded of. And we do get better and better at it, usually. Sometimes certain different lessons that we've got to learn in and around that, because we're always, when we're having to unteach it, when we're always unteaching it, well, not always, but when we're having to unteach it, and particularly with our kids, we then learn those lessons a little bit better. But it's something that's always challenging us because of those spanners that are thrown in the works all the time. And I know that you're such a guru in it, so take it away, Mel. Give us some tips.
Well, what probably my number one thing that I always love to say and to remind people of is that no matter how much time you have, you still have full say on how you spend it. Because a lot of what debilitates us or sets us back at first is that mindset of, I've got all these things to do and I don't have enough time. Well, with that attitude, no, you don't. And you're just going to find the little things that's just going to give you that sense of being productive. And there's a difference between being productive and being profitable. And when I talk about profitability all the time, I use it in threefold. That's mentally, emotionally, and financially. So looking at, even just that reframing of, instead of saying, I've got all these things to do, but no time, look at it as, I have this much time How do I want to fill it to get closer to what I want? And again, that could be 5 minutes, that could be 30, that could be 5 hours. It's not going to, as well as letting go of what you think that routine should look like. And I'm speaking from a space of I'm homeschooling an 8-year-old plus, I have a full grown business. So I had to really restructure what my day now looks like, and be okay with that. Be okay with, I can only take 2 or 3 meetings a day instead of 5 back to back. And I only now have this amount of time to where I can still take care of myself. I'm not hustling. I'm not overextending myself. I'm still utilizing it in a profitable way. So I am always taking care of me and my business and my son. Am I always successful at it? No, I'm human. Like some days just don't work out, but I always have that plan of action, and I always have that list that matches with that time that I have.
I love that. I think that a lot of what you were saying, it's instead of being reactive, it's a lot more proactive,
Yes.
rather than coming from a place of almost that victim and
Mm-hmm.
that sort of mentality. It's more around Victor, because I'm often saying two choices, victim or Victor. And so
Mm-hmm.
therefore it's a whole lot more empowering. So instead of there's another word I want to say too, but instead of a lack, it's has a whole lot more of the abundance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, really like that,
And
because
it gives you,
that used to be one of my go-tos when I was growing up. I don't have enough time. I don't have this. But
Mhm.
certainly one of my phrases was, I don't have enough time. My mum used to say, make time. It used to drive me nutty until I've learned that. But still, it's those go-to phrases still in the back of the mind.
Yeah.
So I do like what your message was, and I'm sorry I cut you off. So what were you
Oh
about to
no,
say?
you're fine. This is your show. You do whatever
Yeah.
you want,
Thank
Sonia.
you.
But you're so correct. And that's one of the reasons why I predominantly do work with women, because we have such a precondition into what we
Mm,
think we need to do, who we think we need to be the success that, and most of us don't even know what that really is for us. What is success to you? What does that
mm,
actually look like? And not to get so caught up in what you think you deserve or what you think you're capable of or what others tell you you want or need. It's you really taking that minute and going, okay, what do I want? Because I have full say on how I spend the time that I have. So how am I spending it? And even just that check-in, when your mom used to say, just make more time. I say that to my clients all the time. You can find time everywhere. It's just a matter of you have to actually sit with what you said yes to.
yeah.
One
Yep.
of my favorite sayings from John Maxwell is, in order to create what you want, you have to start saying no to the good so you can say yes to the best.
Mm.
So
Oh, I
with
like
that,
that.
I know, right? I'm going
I
to get
know.
that tattooed on my
Yeah.
body somewhere at some point. But even with just that guideline and that check-in question before you say yes to something, is it good or is it the best? Good is just something that you're like, I could be helpful to somebody or I could be of value to something. The best is this in line with what I really wanted to create today? And you can always say no.
Mm, mm,
And it's practice and it's a process, but just having that confidence and that empowerment of, I have this time. How do I want to spend it?
mm.
And then just prioritizing and arranging as you see fit that aligns with what you want.
Mm. That whole, saying no thing is really difficult. And I used
Mhm.
to really be challenged with that. And certainly in my first career, we were always trained to never, ever say the word no. You
Right?
make it work, never, ever say no. And it
Yeah.
was service as well as sort of retailing. And so then I found that incredibly hard for years, even while I was having my first child. It wasn't until he was a little bit older, like, still certainly under 10, but I thought to myself then that's when I really had to smack myself and say, look,
Yeah.
I'm not being a great role model here. And I remember
Mhm.
reading books on it, but it was still, yeah, it became a really bad habit of mine.
Yeah.
So what would be some of your tips around that then, if people are listening and they're finding that challenging?
Definitely personal development is so helpful. You and I are very similar. Is the first 6 years, I remember the first time I said no to a client, and it was 4 years ago. But before that, it was about 5 years of personal development, just like psyching myself up for it, right? And it
Yeah.
was almost that exact same talk to myself of, if this is going to go on forever, guess who's the person who's going to make it stop? This person. So
Yeah.
who's the one that's going to have to start saying no?
Yep.
this person.
Yep.
And for some people, it is that huge aha moment. For others, I do this a lot with my clients, is kind of separating that emotional from just facts. So if it's helpful to take the emotion out of it, then it's literally just looking at your schedule and going, I don't have time for that because I've already scheduled this, and this for myself.
Mm.
So looking at the schedule again, I have this time that I can help you with this, but my day is full. And that's not being, I think a lot of times that we say yes to things is because we're trying to prove our value and we're trying
Mm.
to get that validation.
That's right.
But the truth is, that's not going to do anything if you're not validating yourself. It's just going to be a quick fix. It's just going to be that quick high. And then you're still going to go to bed exhausted and overwhelmed. And you're still going to wake up going, how the hell am I going to get this all done today?
Mm.
Whereas if you start, connecting with yourself and prioritizing what you want and saying yes to those things, and then, scheduling those good things when you can, then you're not only getting still the validation from others, but that's going to be tenfold because you now know you have the confidence to do what you need to do to get what you need to get done. Like that to me is just like, that's better than crack, right? Because that's what's going to keep you excited and wanting to do more, is that you have the capacity to say no and keep doing what you're doing. And that's just going to help all of your relationships personally and professionally.
Mm.
So it's with everything, I just say, it is a process. So look at your non-negotiables first.
Mm.
Identifying what you want and what are those things you're just like, nope, I need to get this done. And you might have to start off with little things. If you're a mom, it might be, okay, for this 30 minutes as you do this, instead of doing the dishes, which those can always be done. I always tell people that when you're making your priority list, make sure it's business focused only. Don't put your personal stuff on it because that just becomes a procrastination device. You have outside factors that's going to remind you that those personal things need to get done. If you're a solopreneur or, the boss of your own company, not a lot of people are going to be poking you, asking you if you did what you were supposed to do, right? So
Yes.
even just simplifying that of, I have these two things I need to get done today, or I want to get done today for my business. Look at my schedule. When can I fit them in? Fit them in. And then the rest of the time you can say, again, you still have full say. You can say yes to other things, but what are your non-negotiables that you do or dies that you want to get done today? And how can you prioritize those in your schedule and, help your life fit your dreams?
Mm. Mm. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. Well, this is why I call this show Prosper, because um, you know, personal life and professional life, and it just smashes together.
Yeah.
And we often feel that, we really want to be, fabulous in all the very facets.
Mm-hmm.
We do need to prioritize which ones are serving us best and
Mm-hmm.
serving us to help achieve those bigger goals moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I think a lot of entrepreneurs do struggle with.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of small business owners as well. But it's really constantly coming back and reassessing that, isn't it? Really.
It's definitely always coming back to, what do I want? What do I want to create my business? And then from there, how do I tame my time to get me closer to what I want? And then how can I prioritize my tasks within that time and let it ebb and flow with you? And, it is, like I said, it's not a perfect system because we're human and things happen, but still that permission of, okay, guess what? Today sucks. So I'm just actually going to take a me day, looking at tomorrow. Now, what can I do tomorrow that's still going to keep me consistent? Right? It's not, we're such an all or nothing culture. And what I really want to help entrepreneurs, especially women, understand is that even the picture that you have in your head, if you don't succeed it in a day, that's fine because nobody else did. And the picture in your head is actually probably not even what's going to remotely look like by the time you're done, but it's a direction. So
Yeah.
know that that's your intention, know that's your focus, and then prioritize around that. And then when things shift, it's not because you failed, just as things change. So now take a moment and go, okay, this was just thrown in my lap. Now, how much time do I have? Now, what do I want to accomplish in that time? And which of my tasks now fit? So you're always taking steps. A step forward, no matter how big, is still a step forward. And it's the consistency that's going to help you create the success that you want. Another one of my favorite sayings that people hear me say all the time is from Darren Hardy from The Compound Effect, which is a phenomenal book. And your listeners should definitely listen to it if they, or read it if they haven't already. But he always says it's the little things you do every day that make the biggest difference.
Yeah.
So with that focus and that intention, what are those little things you can do each day that is going to get you to what you want? And then just right? Just keep moving. Just keep on swimming.
I know, like Dory, keep on swimming. But it's
Exactly.
so true. I really like that part of the movie because, yes, it was a very, very scary, place. You couldn't see where you're going. You
Yeah.
didn't know what's around the corner, just like in business. Just keep swimming. If what we need to do is just to swim, then just keep swimming.
Yeah.
And have faith that you can sort things out. And there's a lot of those sorts of various different sorts of elements that are brought into that, fear and trust. And I think that when we make these habits of getting better and better and better at a lot of the things that we do, and the whole multitasking, which that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yes. And try to be a bit of a perfectionist with all of that. And, really, we are our own biggest saboteur, really.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
we are humans, and yay much. And then sometimes, because I do that too, and I still, you get excited and you get passionate about it. And some people still say to me, Sonia, Rome wasn't built in a day. And I still go, oh gosh, people still tell me that. Or that, or it's like, gee, I love moving mountains. I'm really good at moving mountains, but do you need to really move that mountain?
Yeah. It's the sustainability, right? Of course, the excitement of accomplishing something shorter or faster than anybody else. I am as competitive as the next person. That definitely gets me going. However, that's what I did the first 5 years, and I was grumpy. I was tired. I was overextended, and I was poor as all get out because I was so overextending myself with trying to hustle and trying to push and trying to do all these things. That's not what I preach, and that's not what I practice. I preach and practice sustainability, right? This is a lifestyle. Even when I was in the fitness industry, this is not a quick fix. This is a lifestyle.
That's right.
So how can you construct a plan of action or construct a process that not only supports it, but amplifies it and almost guarantees it every single day? Because we don't have to be martyrs and go, I only slept 2 hours, but I did this, I did that, blah, blah, blah. Brilliant. But can you do that for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? Can you do that for 2 months? No. So why would you want that? Why would you create something that is 100% yours to be absolutely miserable for the first 2 years or forever, just so you could be the success that you think you need to be?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, that's still prioritizing. That's still prioritizing what's about important for life goals and business goals, and the steps to get there. And are all those steps necessary?
Yeah. And to back to your point of, we want to be the best at everything. You only have certain strengths. You, Sonia, only have certain strengths. Me, Mel, only has certain strengths. And that's why we have others to help support what I don't call them weaknesses. I call them not so muches.
Okay.
So looking at your strengths and building off of those, even prioritizing your not so much. What's the first not so much you need to strengthen to support the ones you already have to bring that to the next level? And that's another way that you could prioritize things as well. That's how I got a VA. That's how I started prioritizing things that I wanted to offload that just are not my jam. And of course, when I first started, I did do all of it. And I quickly learned what things I just kind of didn't do as well. So I didn't really prioritize those avenues. I prioritized the ones I knew I could do and do really well. And then just started building up the support enough to where I could find somebody else. But it's still honoring who you are, the strengths that you have, how you want to work. And that way, when you do customize your prioritized tasks or your goals, it's always in tune with that. And then you can see what is that not so much that you can work on in parallel. I agree with multitasking. I say in parallel with the routine you've already established for yourself with your strengths.
I love that. So many nuggets of gold in there. so many so many lessons. There's so much layering and deep diving that we can do. And now I've just got a frog in my throat. Sorry.
No worries.
Really, really very interesting takes and on it, or perspective on it, and really, really great fundamentals in there. I really encourage listeners to rewind and to listen and to pick up on a lot of those pieces of information that you've got there, because as you're talking, I can look at back in hindsight, it's a great thing, hindsight, isn't
Right.
it?
God for it.
And to go, yes, and where I have made the change or the alteration, but then have slid back into those habits, and it's very easy to preach these things, but how often are we practicing and keeping stock? And certainly at these times where with the COVID, and we've got so many things happening and everyone's saying pivot, pivot, pivot. And I keep saying, well, I feel like
I'm so sick of that word.
Yeah. I
now say maneuver. We're maneuvering. We're no longer pivoting. We're just maneuvering.
I like that. I do like that. Yeah, very, very nice. Yes. So then tell me, Mel, how are you maneuvering into what's on the horizon for you in 2020?
Well, I'm actually really excited about what's on my horizon. So I'm currently actually working on a book that will be I don't like to call it a system of process because I feel like that's very structured, but basically the 5 points that I work on with my clients, which is, we touched on most of them here during this talk. So, helping women business owners really identify what they want, teaming the time that they have, customizing their own calendar, and then creating a plan of action. But with that, sharing more of my story, being a divorced mom and a business owner, as well as some science behind it of why women tend to struggle with this and men don't. So I'm working on that, and that actually should be launched by the end of this year, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
And I also have some really great new service offerings to help women business owners at any stage, whether they're developing their business idea or they're in their business 2 to 5 years and are looking to enhance their profit avenues. I've developed several new offers to be of value and of resource to them as well. So no matter where you are in your business or no matter where you are in your journey, you have the resources you need to create the business, the money, and the life that you want.
Lovely, lovely. Oof. So really people need to keep an eye out for those resources. Go to your website, which is going to be here on the web page with a link. So then, do you have an offer for our listeners?
I sure do. So obviously we're talking a lot about prioritization, and I have a prioritize your profits checklist.
Ooh.
Now again, profits is mental, emotional, and financial. And what these are is it's 13 steps, but it's not a like step by step. It is 13 check-in points. So there's 13 things to help you, to look at the list and go, okay, I'm struggling with this. And there is a tip on there that's going to help you either reframe, get you back on track, help you reapply, recognize, and move on. So just a really great resource to look at your task list and to help you start prioritizing your time and your profit avenues and yourself correctly. So that checklist will be emailed to you, as well as other opportunities to get more of my resources as they come along, which should be in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I'm so excited to be able to share that with your listeners. Again, to just help them and support them in any way I can as they create what they want.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That checklist, that sounds really awesome, and that it's not just about money, the profits and those other areas. That's just so important. And I love again your take on it, your perspective on it, and it's so true. And this is what we're ultimately doing and why we're in business. So is to have the life that we do want, and how to do that. No matter with, where we do have the support of family around us or not, and whether we're bringing up children and those sorts of things or not. Yeah, it's life can throw all those sorts of things at you. So that's really good. So I really thank you for that. So before we do a sign off, is there any other last minute things you might want to say to people?
Probably my last bit of advice would be just to be patient with yourself, to take breaths. And it's okay to take a moment. And I don't like to say pause because people tend to stop when they pause, but
Mm.
take a moment and reflect. If you're having a day where things are just going awry, having that moment in the bathroom of going, okay, the day has gone awry. I'm going to bless and release that. And I'm just going to go along with it. And tomorrow is a new day, right? You always have, like I said in the beginning, you always have full say on how you spend the time that you have. So make sure that you are utilizing your profitability mentally, emotionally, and financially towards you and what you want every single day, no matter what that looks like. And you will always go to bed feeling successful at a certain level. And then tomorrow you have a plan of action that's waiting for you. So you, like I said, are always creating the business, the money, and the life that you want in the time that you have.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
So profound. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This was so
Oh,
fantastic.
lots of fun. And as you can see, I
Yeah.
love talking. I love getting into people's heads. So, maybe
Right?
we should have you back on the show at the end of the year and it's, with your launch and things, and
Yeah.
to help with people checking in on how their year went and to be set up for next year.
I would absolutely love that. Count me in.
Cool. Lovely. Okay. Well, I look forward to it.
Me too.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.